Right. Story of the game is the ball. 10 points off of turnovers, but just giving their offense, opportunities. And then in the first half, giving up some big plays in the pass game. And then in the second half, with the lead, they went right to the run game, and we weren't able to get them off the field that way. And then, you're playing from behind. We play to their strengths, and they have a good pass rush unit, and they got after us, with the sacks and a couple of pressure situations, where we played it right into their hands, and they were able to attack us defensively and then stick with the run game, and kind of ran out of chances, ran out of turns there at the end. But that's kind of the story of the game, So just again, just address the group. Like, that's not the brand of football we want to play. We got to take care of the ball so we can be balanced, so we can continue to mix our runs and passes in offensively, and then defensively get them into more pass situations. So a really challenging day for us.
Was Bryce having trouble gripping the ball? It looked like there was several passes that wobbled out of his hand, and then a couple of the strip sacks.
I don't know that. Yeah, I mean, he certainly, a couple of throws got away from him.
You've been saying week to week on Bryce, 4 turnovers, career high. Is he going to remain your starting quarterback?
Yeah, Bryce will play next week. Yep.
It seemed like there were a lot of peaks and valleys in this game. The first drive and the fumble, and then you get the touchdown from Coker, but first play out of the half. This team has done, the offense especially, has done a good job staying consistent. Is that something that you guys were struggling with? Dallas being a part of that? Where did you see some of the disconnects?
I got to look at the film, but I think, just from a glance, there was a missed block here or there. There was just some execution stuff, that happened, and then at a certain point, we got to go. We got to start throwing it and try to be more aggressive with it. And they were able to come up with some really good rushes on us and put us in some pretty bad situations, some second and longs. Certainly the penalties too. That was another thing that kind of showed up that really put us into some difficult spots as well. So a lot of stuff we got to clean up.
Dave, in the past, when Bryce has had turnovers, they seem to kind of come in bunches. Did you notice any confidence leaving him today, and how do you kind of help him bounce back from this?
No, he had a good look in his eyes, and so I was looking forward to continue to just, being aggressive and trying to find those opportunities that we had down the field. I thought he maintained that. I thought he kept fighting, had the nice long drive there at the end, the touchdown drive before the last one. So, felt like the guys were continuing to fight, but there was just a lot to clean up.
Dave, the pass protection had been good, particularly recently, but all season. Was there a common denominator today in the pressure they were able to get?
Well, I think Micah Parsons is a special player. He's certainly got some wins out there. But I think it was really the mode, Darren, that when they put us in this mode where we're playing from behind and we have to go for it and we have to throw the ball and try to, flip the field and try to get points, we play into the opponent's hands, in that regard. And it allows them, Coach Zimmer, with a really good pressure package, and then just some good players up front. But certainly put us in a brand of football that we don't really want to play, but we have to go there when we do.
How deflating, you put together this good first drive and then that fumble by Bryce after the spin move. How deflating was that fumble in and of itself? Because it seemed like things kind of started to spiral after that.
That's a challenge, right? That's when you have a successful drive ending in a turnover, the challenge is you got to snap back and say, okay, these are the things that led to the success of that drive. Can we just return to it? And we weren't able to return to it, in the course of the first half there. So, you bring up a good point. We have to be able to say, okay, this thing happened. Let's just reset and just get back to our football.
Coach, injuries continue to mount on defense. Can you speak to how Churlis did filling in for Walls?
I thought he did fine. I got to watch the film. He was out for a little while and then returned back to us to play out there. So we'll follow up with that and see where he's at.
What was his injury, and did he have to? What do you say about him gutting it out in the second half?
It was a foot injury. That's as much as I can give you right now. I'm sure we'll gather more information after that.
Dave, it seems like the special teams return unit, especially your aces, seem to talk a lot after plays, and there have been some unnecessary roughness penalties. Some just penalties in general. How do you clean that up?
Yeah, it's just something we got to get out of our football. We're addressing it. We're talking to the guys. They play with a lot of passion, a lot of heart. They're aggressive by nature, but we can't have the extra stuff. This game is too hard. The NFL is too hard to give the opponent any advantage. And you tack on 15 yards after a coverage or after a return. Those things, they add up.
Dave, why didn't Eddie kick off today?
We had a plan. We had Johnny with some different kicks. He executed them pretty well. You know, put a couple balls in the landing zone and got them on the ground to kind of slow up Turpin a little bit. So I thought it worked out pretty well for us in terms of our coverage unit being able to get down there and rally up and tackle.
Not health related.
No.
How did the refs explain that personal foul call on Xavier Woods against C.D. Lamb? And it seems as if the Panthers tend to be on the short end of the stick when it comes to that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you feel that same way, and do you get explanations from the officials regarding that?
Yeah, they explained it as a hit on a defenseless receiver, and I know we were fighting like crazy to say it wasn't to his head or neck area, and then, you know, from their vantage point, that's kind of what they saw, you know, so that's what they flagged. I mean, it was a really hard hit, you know, but again, it's at the official's discretion.
You referenced not being able to get the defense off the field in the second half. Just how frustrating is that when you wanted to feel like you could get back in the game, you just couldn't get the ball back?
Yeah, it is, and it's frustrating for the whole group, you know, and they take a lot of pride in working on our game and the things we need to improve. Excuse me. But, you know, it allows them to play a style of football they wanted to. They get a lead. You love to control it by running the ball, and there was a bunch of missed tackles out there and things that we have to shore up and we have to look at this week.
Today just feels sort of like a regression overall. I know that's not the type of football that you've played the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Absolutely. You know, the biggest part of it is just the ball security, right? And making sure that we end the down with the ball. As long as we have the ball, we can manage. If it's a sack, it's a sack. We can figure it out what to do next, you know. But when we have those turnovers and you know, we flip the field and we gave them 10 points there, it does make it more difficult. It doesn't make it impossible, but it does make it more challenging, you know, and then everything else, your execution from then on out is at a premium, you know, and that's where you have to play really clean football. And, yeah, it was definitely not the type of ball we want to play.
Kind of building off that, you're coming off of 3 weeks where you're competing with some of the best teams in the NFL. You're favored for the first time of the season. Was there a sense of, I don't know, complacency that you could detect during practice this week?
Not at all. You know, this is a group that's been battling for everything, you know, and even in those games where we're playing teams tight, it's because we're controlling the football. It's because we're putting ourselves in positions to have success or to play to win the game at the end, you know, and today we did not do that. So we just look at it as this opponent, regardless of what the point spread and all that stuff, it's about us. It's about our execution. It's about us doing right.
How concerned are you about Leggett?
We got to do the follow up and see where he's at going this week.
Exactly.
It's a groin, and we'll see. We'll get all the information on the severity and the timeline and all that for you.
It seems like every week we're talking about the run defense, and you talk about technique and being in the right gap and everything like that. But it seems like every week somebody's getting a new career high or rushing for a lot of yards. How do you hold the guys accountable behind the scenes as far as making sure guys are actually doing their job in the run game?
Yeah, we just got to go right off the film and just look at the fundamentals of the call, where people are supposed to be, getting guys down, you know, keeping them from getting those extra yards and all that. And so we just got to return to the basics. That's really what we have, you know, is to look at the film. Here's the basics of how this call is supposed to be fit versus these styles of runs, and just continue to just ask the guys to press into that.
Do you remain confident in the 3-4 base?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach.
Okay, thank you.